Kate Mila Falta. My name is Cliana, Business Development Manager for New Namara, a dedicated marine innovation development centre. On today's Innovator Insight, we have Christopher Lee, founder and CEO of Aquarealtime. Aquarealtime's mission is to improve the health of lakes, rivers, and oceans globally through real-time detection of contamination. Their solution leverages low-cost IoT sensor buoys in waterways and cloud predictive analytics to help stakeholders contain environmental hazards. Let's hear from Chris. So Chris, it's fantastic to have you on Innovator Insight. So tell me a little bit about your business.
So we, Aquarealtime, founded in 2018. We had our first product for monitoring of water quality in 2019, pilot studies with various customers in 2020, and been scaling up since then. So what we do specifically is we have a product called the Algae Tracker, which is this particular product is focused on monitoring algae. So algae blooms cause $17 to $50 billion worth of damages annually worldwide. And that can take the shape of anything from drinking water utilities getting shut down to fisheries getting massive problems in their stock, and recreational areas, tourism, all sorts of things, desalination plants. So there's been a need for being able to get an early warning system for when these harmful algae blooms, which can be very toxic to humans, are going to be arriving. And so that's what we started off with, and we are in the process of branching out to a few more things that we measure as well to complement that, and also to branch out into more general water quality.
Okay, fantastic. And what's your own personal experience, Chris? Have you a degree in marine biology, or where did this kind of maybe talk about your education, and then maybe where the business idea originally stemmed from?
Okay, yeah. So I have I'm an engineer, although I was always kind of dabbling in businesses before being educated. So I have a PhD in electrical engineering, and I first started in the medical field, designing simulators for training of doctors, and then switched over to biofuels. I became interested in sustainable energy, renewable energy, about 12 years ago, and started a company. At that time, biofuels from algae were really coming into vogue. They haven't panned out the way that people hoped for. They're an excellent solution as far as the ecological standpoint, but the profitability hasn't quite reached the point where it can get mass marketed. But we started a company, Algae Lab Systems, making automation and sensor and monitoring systems for commercial algae growers. So these folks are growing algae in ponds or photobioreactors indoors, all sorts of different systems, and we kind of automated that those systems. Then we became aware of the problem of harmful algae blooms, and we very much aware of it for a long time. I've spent most of my life spending summers on lakes, and certainly seeing the change in what the lakes look like now up in Canada, where we have our cottage, compared to 20 years ago or 30 years ago. And of course, the Great Lakes, and all over the world, we became aware of this harmful algae bloom problem, and created this new company to help with basically the solution set. The solution stack for harmful algae blooms consists of the mitigators and the monitoring and all sorts of different things. And so we're part of that solution stack.
Okay, fantastic. It's a great product, really, when we look at, I suppose, that early warning system, because it's quite hard. A lot of it is done retrospectively. So it's fantastic that there's an early warning system there. In terms of, I suppose, the process of setting up this company, you mentioned that there was initial research and then the piloting scale side of things. How, I suppose, did you navigate the process of going from research to commercialization, and how long did it take?
So yeah, there's the things that we are monitoring for are difficult to measure. So it's not like having a temperature sensor or maybe a flow meter that you can create a business around in a new setting where the fundamentals are easy. This was something where the actual research into measuring those pigments is not trivial. It's been done by other companies, but it's certainly on lockdown in terms of the technology. So there was definitely a research part of it. That we got some initial, just very small amounts of seed money to proof of concept it. And before that, we did a lot of market research because we didn't want to fall into the trap of creating a great product for a really tiny market. That's something that it can be fun, but it's not going to be a good solution in the long run. So as far as going from that research to commercialization, once we had sort of proved out the market a little bit, which didn't cost anything, and then had this proof of concept, we started, I think we were at a conference, and we were kind of showing a vaporware version of this product. Like, here's what it would look like. Here's what it's going to do. Here's how we've proof of concepted it. And there were some investors that were there. We got on with an accelerator here in the United States, a business incubator accelerator called Techstars, and they took a risk with us. And that was really what kind of got us from pure research to basically being able to have a commercializable, sellable product, the very basic version of that. Then after that, once we had that and had a bit of traction, we got a couple of grants from the Environmental Protection Agency here in the United States. So I think that was the kind of sequence. Research, proof of concept, a little bit of tiny funding, accelerator program, and then a grant, and then a few investors, smaller investors as well, kind of along the path there as well too.
Okay. Wow. And it's great that you have, I suppose, the accelerator program to catapult, I suppose, your business to the next level. Fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, so they came in with funding, an accelerator, and they came in with their reputation, which is pretty good, a very good reputation. At the same time, we didn't necessarily fit the typical mold. I mean, they invest in a wide variety of companies, so maybe there isn't a real typical one, but we weren't kind of close to the middle. We were probably on the fringes of what they usually invest in. So the path that they kind of architected for a typical company wasn't quite what we followed, but it was definitely very useful and actually quite a lot of fun.
Yeah. Great. Sometimes we have a lot of fellow entrepreneurs listening into these videos, or people with ideas that they want to commercialize. Is there any one tip that you would give to them from your vast experience of this business and the one previous?
Obviously, I don't know if there's one, boy.
There's multiple.
Yeah, I think investors will say, it's not the idea. Everybody has great ideas, but that's not true. Like it's easy to have a great idea that doesn't have business legs. Having a great idea where the business legs are on it as well, and it fits your abilities, that's the key. If you're passionate about something and you have skills in something that supports that, and it's something a little bit novel, and and you can really build around it on the market side. It is about the idea in its completion, not just, oh, that's a cool idea. Like, wouldn't it be great if we could put a man on Mars? Like that whole package that fits your ability and your team's ability is really important. That's what I would say.
Very good. So you mentioned the product really is for, I suppose, water quality measurement, and you mentioned fisheries. Have you looked at the aquaculture sector for your product as another market?
Yes. And we've definitely gotten some traction in that area. One thing that they typically want in the aquaculture market is the dissolved oxygen sensor. So they have a benefit for the algae parts, but the DO, dissolved oxygen, is critical for them. And so far we've been involved with companies where the DO was less important. However, we're about to release a new product that does dissolved oxygen as well.
Great.
And so, yeah, that'll be definitely a market that we are more involved with in 2023 is aquaculture, because we have more of a complete solution now for those people.
Okay, and that was going to be my next question. What are the the advancements that you were looking to bring into your product? So looking at dissolved oxygen is one of them. And I suppose, where else do you see your company expanding to in the next couple of years?
Well, part of it is going to places that are harder to reach with cellular access. So we're going to be having a satellite version, a satellite communications version, big wave ocean version. Right now we have the ability to do that, but it's a little bit, it requires a bit extra rigging. So basically having a solution that can be used really anywhere, and branching out to a few more sensor parameters, like the dissolved oxygen, as I mentioned. In the past, we've stayed away from things like pH and dissolved oxygen because we want to have a very low maintenance device. But because of various things and how we've changed how we build things, there's going to be a happy medium in terms of that maintenance versus ease of installation, all that kind of stuff together. We're going to have a really useful, compelling is the word I was looking for, package for that.
Okay, brilliant. Christopher, you have, I suppose, done a fantastic job developing this product. And I suppose if there's anyone listening that are looking for more information, your website is the best place to get it from. And what's the best method of contacting you?
Just algaetracker.com, AquaRealTime.com, the same one. And then my email, Chris@AquaRealTime.com. Any of those is a good contact point.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for coming on today, Chris.
Okay, thank you. Nice to meet you.
And thank you for listening to today's episode of Innovator Insight. I hope you found Chris's interview of benefit. To remind you, Nua is a dedicated marine innovation development centre based in the Gaeltacht regions in Ireland, where we aim to provide support for marine companies, SMEs, or individuals with business ideas in the marine sector to develop their concept into a commercial reality with various supports along the way. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos and to our mailing list to hear more about upcoming events and news.